Hey, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my look at the Halloween franchise. Today we take a look at the night no one came home in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Halloween 2 was not the financial success the original was, and the critics weren't hip on it, calling it a shadow of its predecessor. However, it did make a big profit, being the second highest grossing horror film of 1981. Talks of a third entry were had, however John Carpenter said he would not be involved if it was a direct sequel to Part 2 because he was done with the Michael Myers character. But what were they to do without the main villain that was already so popular? The decision made was to take Halloween 3 on the anthology route, completely ignoring the first two entries in favor of a totally different story set around the holiday. Carpenter agreed to be a producer and compose the music, while his production designer / editor from the original, Tommy Lee Wallace, was put in charge of writing the script and directing. What they landed on was a movie that would be more of a science fiction mystery instead of another slasher, surrounding the mysterious Silver Shamrock Company distributing three seemingly generic masks that hold a gruesome secret. Tom Atkins was cast to play Dr. Dan Chalice, the ladies' man doctor who attempts to uncover the truth of Silver Shamrock, and its shady founder, Colonel Cochran, played by Dan O'Herlihy. How would the absence of Myers and a bizarre new story fare with audiences? Well, judging by the title of Part 4, not so well. But let's take a look anyway. The movie begins on October 23rd in California with a man, Harry Grimbridge, clutching a pumpkin mask and running for his life from a car that is in pursuit of him. He's caught and nearly killed by a man in a suit, but he's able to get a car to crush him. Then we get this little tidbit of news at a local gas station.
The blue stone was one of 19, believed to represent the 19-year cycle of the moon. It weighs more than 5 tons, making its disappearance a mystery indeed.
A giant piece of Stonehenge just up and vanished. I guess the night watchman was taking a break when that happened, but this is not random useless information, as we'll discover later. Harry scares the gas station attendant while warning him that they are coming. Cut to Dr. Dan Chalice, who has shown up to surprise his kids, and ex-wife, with some cheap-ass masks, but mom already got them Silver Shamrock masks. We also get to hear the company's theme song that plays excessively throughout.
4 days to Halloween.
Turn that down.
Halloween, 4 days to Halloween, Silver.
This is Chalice.
This song will never leave your head, cause you dread, want you dead, it'll drive you crazy, can't you see? Fucking kill me. Dan gets called into the hospital after Harry is brought in, who gives him a warning after seeing the Shamrock ad.
They're going to kill us. All of us.
Dan goes to take a rest, leaving Harry all by himself, which opens up an opportunity for another suit to enter his room and finish a job they started. The suit casually strolls out of the hospital, but the nurses alert Dan of the murder. He chases the suit outside, but he's already made it to his car. Damn, I haven't seen a person blow up that quick since Ben Tramer. The next morning, Harry's daughter, Ellie, arrives to identify her father, causing her quite a bit of grief, which Dan notices but doesn't do anything to console her. A few days later, Dan meets up with the coroner, Teddy, and asks her to take a look into the death of the suited murderer from the other night, since some things just aren't lining up for him. On October 29th, Dan is hanging out in a bar where Ellie arrives, telling him that the nurses said they could find him there. Ah, yes, I know when I'm told that my doctor is at the local bar, I feel a sense of relief. Ellie wants to know if her father said anything before he died, and Dan makes up a lie that he said, "Tell Ellie I love her." She can see he's a bad liar, so Dan admits that he was holding onto a mask for dear life and told him that they were going to kill us all. After hearing this, Ellie takes Dan to her father's toy store so they can look up the records and try to figure out what may have happened before his death.
I think my father ran into trouble somewhere between here and Santa Mira.
Santa Mira?
Where they make those.
So, after lying to his ex-wife and grabbing a six-pack, Dan heads off with a girl half his age to Santa Mira, a small Irish town in the middle of nowhere where the Silver Shamrock headquarters is located. Once there, they check into Rafferty's Motel, where Dan discovers that Harry also stayed there. We're then introduced to the annoying Comfort family, Buddy, Betty, and Buddy Jr., and Marge Gutman, a saleswoman who needs a new order of Silver Shamrock masks. Dan informs Ellie that her father was indeed at the motel on the 20th, alarming her and wanting to go straight to the factory.
Whoa, hold on,
exactly
slow down. It's getting late. I could use a drink. Let's take our time.
"We're here to investigate the murder of your father, but let's slow it down. I haven't had a beer in like 2 hours." The town announces its 6 o'clock curfew, but that doesn't stop Dan or the liquor store that is still open. He's approached by Starker, a local hobo who tells him Colonel Cochran didn't hire anyone in town to work in his factory and has surveillance set up all around, so they're always watching and listening. He goes on to say that this year he's gonna burn that whole damn factory down. Dude, you remember when you said that they were always listening? Guess what? They heard you. Cut to Marge complaining to Ellie outside about how the little trademark on one of her masks fell off. Back in her room, she just then notices that the trademark has a chip in it, which she begins to poke and pry into with a pin. That laser looks pretty lame, but the makeup on Marge's face showing the aftermath is awesome. The blood-red eyes and her whole mouth just missing as she struggles to breathe is a little disturbing, but then the bug crawls out. Oh, nasty. Later, a group of men show up to wheel out Marge's body, and Cochran finally makes an appearance and assures Dan and Ellie that Marge will get the best care up at the factory's facility. The next morning, Teddy tells Chalice that she hasn't found anything from the explosion, not even any bone remnants, just car parts. Ellie and Dan go to Silver Shamrock's main office to find out that her dad had picked up the shipment he was scheduled to receive. As they go to leave, they bump into the Cupford family, who are there to get a tour of the factory from Cochran himself, and they end up getting invited to join them. We find out that Cochran is a toy maker that has spent his life building many little mechanical contraptions before he gives Buddy Jr. a mask that has gone through final processing. The specifics of the final process are kept secret, but as Dan and Ellie try to leave, she spots a garage that has her father's car. They return to the motel, so Dan can of course have a drink, but he leaves Ellie alone to try and call the police at the motel office, which is unsuccessful. When he arrives back to the room, Ellie is missing. He escapes the suits chasing after him and makes it to the Silver Shamrock headquarters, looking to find anyone who can help him.
Where is she? Where is she?
Caught off guard, Dan doesn't notice the suit behind him, who attacks. After a brawl, he's able to get the upper hand, but discovers the horrifying truth. He's a goddamn robot, and he runs on orange juice. Cochran arrives and captures Dan, letting him know that he was well aware of who he really was and what he and Ellie were attempting. On Halloween, Dan is led by Cochran to the final processing room, where we see they were the ones who stole the stone from Stonehenge.
We had a time getting it here. You wouldn't believe how we did it.
So we're just gonna leave it at that and never provide an actual explanation. The stone apparently holds a power that Cochran is trying to use for his dastardly plans. He wants Dan to see the demonstration as he shuffles the Cupford family into a room that has a new Silver Shamrock commercial playing, encouraging Buddy Jr. to put on his mask and watch. They just killed a freaking kid. That's... wow. And they show no mercy on him, reducing his head to a rotting pumpkin, then all the bugs and snakes spilling out of his mouth. Phew, that is disgusting, but I give the movie credit for having the balls to do it and make it look pretty amazing. There's a nice little montage of kids all over the country wearing the Silver Shamrock masks as vans ride around advertising the big giveaway at 9 p.m. I like this because after seeing what just happened to Buddy Jr., it instills that dread of, holy shit, every kid is going to be watching and suffer the same revolting fate. Teddy tries to call Chalice after discovering that she can't find bones in the remains because the mechanical parts were in fact part of the person, not the car. Before she can call the police, she's attacked by a suit with a drill. Cochran straps down Chalice in a secure room with a mask and begins to reveal the motives behind his heinous acts. He wants to return Halloween to its original roots, the Festival of Samhain.
The last great one took place 3,000 years ago and the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children. Sacrifices.
I know I talked about Michael being pure evil, but Cochran is also a real evil guy. He's fooled everyone in order to revive the old dark ways of celebration and kill thousands, probably millions of kids. He's been working hard and waiting patiently for the time to finally arrive when he could achieve this. If that's not evil, I don't know what is. After Cochran leaves, Dan is able to destroy the TV, free himself, cover the security camera, and escape from the room through the vent. damn, the dude MacGyvered himself out of that situation in like 10 minutes. He tries to call his wife to warn her to not let the kids wear the masks or watch the commercial, but she's had enough of his shit and hangs up. After that failure, he manages to find and rescue Ellie, and they sneak back into the final processing room where Dan activates the code for the commercial to play and drops a ton of Silver Shamrock trademarks onto the workers, killing them. Cochran sees Dan and applauds his efforts. Weird effect, and I've never really thought that looked like Cochran before he vanished. Odd way to take out the main villain. Dan and Ellie drive out of Santa Mira trying to think of a way to save everyone, but Ellie has been oddly quiet for some time. Turns out that she is now one of Cochran's robots, and she will not stay down after getting her arm and head removed, but she's eventually immobilized after several fakeouts. I've always wondered if this meant that Ellie was a robot the entire movie, or if she had just got transformed into one by Cochran. I usually go with the latter, but you never know. Dan makes it to the gas station from the beginning and calls the TV stations to force them to remove the Silver Shamrock commercial at 9 p.m. He succeeds in getting 2 of them pulled, but the last one remains.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
And then everyone died. The end. My overall thoughts on Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It's actually pretty good. People have shit on this movie for years because it was the black sheep of the Halloween franchise that had no Michael Myers and therefore no reason to be included. Well, guess what? There are movies that do have Michael in them and they fucking suck, so your argument is invalid. If you can separate yourself from the fact that it's titled Halloween 3 and just think of it as Season of the Witch, it's a fun 80s horror sci-fi movie. They build a pretty good mystery throughout with the masks, Silver Shamrock, Colonel Cochran, and the creepy suits running around killing people. We're along for the ride as Dan and Ellie not only try to find out why her father was murdered, but uncover the truth behind this seemingly harmless toy company. The reveal that it's been robots involved with an Irishman who is using the power of Stonehenge to resurrect the Festival of Samhain and kill millions of children as the planets align is interesting. It's plenty insane, but at least it's original and not Michael stalking around with a knife for the 3rd time. As of recent, the movie has gotten more recognition as being a cult classic and better than what people remember. If people just don't like it because it's too weird and nonsensical, that's totally justified, but I can't take anyone seriously that trashes it purely because of Michael's absence. I sometimes wonder if this movie had been more successful back in the day if the anthology route would have continued. We would have had such a wildly different franchise. The kills in here are pretty wild. You've got the hobo getting his head ripped off, Marge getting zapped in the face with grotesque results, and what is probably the meanest kill in the series with Buddy Jr. essentially melting in his pumpkin mask. Little more unique than a lot of the Myers kills. For the characters, Tom Atkins is such an out-of-the-ordinary protagonist, and I appreciate that. He's a divorced doctor that is a hit with all the ladies because he's definitely a man's man, and he's a little bit of a drunk. He's flawed, but somehow manages to charm you because he's a fairly regular guy who in the end has to save millions from being killed. The only other standout for me is obviously Dan O'Herlihy as Colonel Cochran. He starts off well, keeping the appearance of this kind, almost grandfatherly toy maker, but you start to see his shadiness increase, you grow suspicious, then bam, he's killing a kid in front of you and telling you he's been wanting to celebrate Halloween the right way for a long time. He is absolutely underrated as a villain. For someone whose goal is to kill children, fly under the radar amazes me. This would be the last time Dean Cundey would work on a Halloween film, and honestly I think it's his weakest of the 3 as he doesn't really do any standout camera work or lighting. However, I do think John Carpenter's score fits perfectly throughout. Takes a little bit of that synthesizer from Halloween 2, but it has the cool electronic beat that fits the overall tone of the film. My biggest problem is that towards the end, I start to lose interest. After the Cupford family massacre, nothing really tops that. When Dan's trying to escape and all that, I'm just kind of like, okay, let's wrap it up here. But I do love the morbid, ambiguous ending. It makes you wonder if Chalice won the battle, but Cochran won the war, and his plan succeeded. So while it may be too ridiculous for some fans, and I think it peters out towards the end, I appreciate the originality, the characters of Chalice and Cochran, the deaths, and mix of sci-fi and horror. I give Halloween 3 Season of the Witch 3.5 Silver Shamrocks out of 5. But let me know your thoughts. Is this one your least favorite in the franchise? Or do you enjoy it for how much it stands out from the rest? And what was your favorite kill? Don't forget to subscribe and follow my Twitter and Instagram. Links to those are in the description. Next week, our pale, emotionless friend is back in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Until next time, peace.